This is a field guide to a field site by Eric Boncour for Bio 278D. This is an urban field site. It is located in Portland, Oregon on the campus of University of Portland. It is on the left side of Beauchamp Gym on the campus of University of Portland. The field site is specifically after a medium cement outcropping with sitting areas and a small brick wall. Here is some general information about my field site. The field site primarily functions as a planter bed on the exterior of Beauchamp Gym. It is meant to make the exterior seem more visually appealing. Next to the field site, there is a road, sidewalk, housing, and a baseball field. All of these factors affect the ecology of the field site, but only in minor ways. Beauchamp Gym was founded in 2015, so the field site, the exterior planter bed, is also only as old as 2015. The average rainfall is about 43 inches. The altitude is 170 feet above sea level. The climate zone is moist subtropical mid-latitude climates, and it has a plant hardiness zone of 8B. In order to take soil samples of my field site, I walked along the edge of the field site on the sidewalk, and a few inches in from the sidewalk I took soil samples in the 3-meter intervals. After running through all of the soil samples, I came to the conclusion that the average pH of the soil was 6.5, the average nitrogen levels was 5 milligrams per gram, and the average phosphorus levels was 1.1 milligrams per grams. After further research, I concluded that the soil in my field site was Lamoille soil. There were 6 different plant species in my field site, first being Japanese Andromeda, which is an invasive species. Next, there were 2 unidentified plant species, but they were in the family of dicots. Next was bearberries, which is an invasive species, and rosemary, which is also an invasive species. And finally, there were service berries, which is a native species to Oregon. Because my field site is relatively small and is in an urban area, it is very uncommon for there to be actual animals within the physical bounds of my field site. So when identifying bird species, I sat next to my field site and looked for any birds in the general vicinity. The 5 most common birds in the area of my field site were the American robin, song sparrow, American crow, dark-eyed junco, and northern flicker. However, I was only able to identify song sparrows and American crows. I believe the biggest ecological impact on my field site is how the groundskeepers interact with plants and soils in the field site. Problems such as climate change and pollution have likely not affected my field site greatly, simply because my field site is so small. Larger ecosystems, like the one on University of Portland's campus or the ecosystem within the city of Portland, have likely been affected by things such as climate change and pollution. These 2 greater ecosystems have likely been affected simply because they are larger ecosystems. The bigger an ecosystem is, the more likely it is to be affected by problems such as climate change and pollutions. The ecosystem within the city of Portland is very affected by climate change and pollutions because Portland is a very large city with lots of residents, which means that they create lots of air pollutants and physical pollutants that will affect both the plant and animal species in that area. The ecosystem found on University of Portland's campus has likely been affected by climate change and pollutants as well, but to a smaller extent, simply because groundskeepers are more hands-on with keeping soil content and plant life healthy and maintained.